A good example is this line over here where we had 7-pot Primo planted. Every single plant, and I think there were 50 plants planted over here, every single plant did not make the grade for 7-pot Primo. So what did we do? We ripped the whole lot out. Hey guys, Sean from Living Seeds, your seed guru. Today we are talking super hot peppers. We're going to teach you about roguing, segregation, how we make our selections, and what we do to give you the best super hot chili seed in South Africa. Today we started our super hot chili pepper evaluations. This year on Living Seeds, we didn't grow all of the chili varieties that we normally grow. We only grew, majority of what we grew was super hot peppers. We wanted to ramp up our super hot production. We planted 2 fields of super hot, so it's this field over here and the field behind. You can see down the center of the field, we have what we call a pollination strip. The pollination strip is there specifically before we actually cover these chili plants. And it doesn't draw pollinators because we actually don't want pollinators here. What it does is it draws predators into the center of our field. So the predators, the wasps and hornets specifically, will fly over our pepper plants to feed on the pollination strip. And at the same time, they are looking for caterpillars and insects to feed their young. And they provide a large proportion of our pest control in our pepper fields. Once the peppers start to flower, we go through a stripping session where we will strip every single fruit and every single flower off every single plant. And they then get covered with a special anti-pollination netting. And then we do a couple of other things to ensure that the seed is pure inside there, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. Growing super hot peppers is so exciting. People love growing super hot peppers for a whole host of reasons. However, one of the things that you want when you're growing a super hot pepper is that you want a row of plants that looks identical. The bane of a pepper grower's life is what's a term called segregation, where you have plants that are segregating along genetic lines because the variety hasn't been stable, it was released too early, or what happened was that the person growing the pepper seed that gave you or sold you the pepper seed was not aware that the seed got crossed. What happens then is that you plant these seeds and segregation starts to happen. Now, one of the things that we do on Living Seeds Farm right before we harvest peppers is we do an evaluation of all of the plants, and we will select the plants that we want to save seed from, and we will rogue the plants that are segregating and that we don't want to harvest seed from. This is just a small example of the plants that were rogued that didn't make the grade for Living Seed seed. So you look at a plant like this, check out the production on this plant. Absolutely fantastic. You look at these plants and you go, what on earth is wrong with a plant like this? Production off the charts. Now, the reason why these plants were rogued, what's going to happen is if you buy Dragon's Fire from Living Seeds Farm, Dragon's Fire comes from these plants over here, and these are typically all super hot plants, but they didn't make the grade for pure seed. And if you look at this selection we've got over here, it goes down, it's 2 rows that are 45 meters long and 1 row that is about half of 45, so just over 20 meters of pepper plants lined up side by side. These are the plants that we have rogued to remove the plants out of our genetic pool because we were not happy with the plants. For the shortest path to success with growing super hot chilies like these 7-pot Congo giants, subscribe to Living Seeds Farm. Thank you guys. So how do we actually do this evaluation? There's a couple of ways that we will evaluate a plant. One of the things that you need to remember is that on a single plant, you will have variation on pod shape on the actual plant. So we'll look at the plant and we are looking for a pod shape like this, we're looking for a color like this, and we want to see 50% of the pods on the plant need to look like this. This is a new variety. It's called Naga Brain Ember. It is an offshoot of the Naga Brain chocolate. It is exceptionally hot, really, really nice, super hot pepper. And as you can see, these bushes are absolutely laden. So we will take our variety and say, this is the standard that we would like our bushes to conform to. 50% of the pods on the plant need to conform to this. And in general, they do. I mean, a couple of them are slightly different, but you'll see 50% of the pods are the same. If we find that the pods are slightly elongated, we'll pull the plant. If we find that we're not getting that nice wrinkled brain look to the outside of the pods, that pod gets pulled, or that plant gets pulled. We don't pull pods, we will pull the entire plant. If we see that the pods are slightly smaller, or there's a low production on a specific bush, we will pull the low production bush, because we want the bushes to look like this, we want the pods to look like this, and if that's right, we know we're supplying you guys perfect seed. Check at these beauties over here. So this is a Living Seeds variety. It is called Peach Savina. We've been growing the Savina pepper for years and years. I think it's over 15 years now we've been growing Savina peppers. And the one year we got a peach plant. I planted it out for a couple of years. This is a stable peach Savina. It tastes like a Savina. It has that habanero flavor to it, but it's peach colored. And as you can see, the production is off the charts. One of the things that we will evaluate is for late ripening. In the Midval where we are, our first frosts come towards the end of April. We're now at the end of March. We basically have a month left of harvest. Any of these flowers that set seed now are not going to be ripe by the end of April, so we've got no fear of the seed that we're harvesting being cross-pollinated. However, late ripening is one of those things that we will rogue for. So even if the pod shape is correct, the plant's right, the foliage is right, we're happy with the flowers, we're happy with everything on the plant, but it's ripening, one plant is ripening 2 weeks later than all of the other plants, we will rogue the late ripening plant to ensure uniformity of the variety that we're selling you guys. So we spoke about preventing cross-pollination, and this is a very good example of one of the things that we do to prevent cross-pollination on our plants. So the first thing that we do is, before we cover the plants, we strip every single flower, every single fruit off all of the plants to ensure that the plants go into a environment where there are no flowers and there's no pollen available. That's the first thing that we do. What also happens is when we remove the flowers, we are removing a population of thrips that are on the plants. Now, thrips are a major problem for a whole host of vegetables, but in peppers, they are what's called a cross-pollination vector. They're tiny little insects. They are 1.5 to 2 millimeters long. They are about 1/4 millimeter wide. They have wings, they can fly, they feed on the inside of pepper flowers. They will lay their eggs under the leaves, and they will fly from plant to plant. And the minute that they fly from plant to plant, the first thing that they do is they spread disease. So if you've got something like pepper mild mottle virus or tobacco mosaic virus, these thrips will actually transmit this disease through your plant population. What we do on Living Seeds Farm is we release Swirsky mites. Swirsky mites are fantastic little mites. So these guys eat a whole variety of mite species. They also eat thrips eggs and they eat thrips larvae. So when we cover the plants, we will cover the plants and we will put Swirsky mites every couple of plants. The Swirskies will be released out of these breeding bags. This is called a breeding bag. I've got a video on Swirsky mites. I'll link that in the comments below. But we'll release these mites throughout our pepper plantation. These mites will then control the thrips, prevent cross-pollination within our plants, and also prevent disease transmission. A lot of the diseases, especially viral diseases, can be seed transmissible, and we want to ensure that we supply pure seed for you guys. Naga Brain Yellow. Look at the size of these absolutely gorgeous pods. Super hot. This is right up there. They are beautiful, beautiful peppers, and we have a fantastic strain of Naga Brain Yellow. Let's talk about when to plant your super hot peppers. On Living Seeds Farm, we start planting our super hot peppers late June, early July. We plant, as you can see, we plant thousands of pepper plants. We want those pepper plants to be up and producing. We want our first harvest of pepper plants typically in the first week of April, and then we will harvest the whole of April, and we will get frost at the end of April. Our plants will basically be toast and our season is over. For those of you that are growing peppers at home, if you are looking to plant your super hots in September or October, you are a little bit late unless you have some way of keeping those plants overwintered or keeping them indoors to get the full harvest or production of those plants. I would strongly recommend that you start looking at planting your super hots towards the end of July and use heating pads, use priming methods. The cool thing is Living Seeds is going to have a video for you on germinating super hots.